How's it going, guys? Welcome back. My name's Nick, and in this video I'm going to be showing you my new turbo ae86. So in the last video that we did on my Hilux Diff conversion, I did briefly mention that I kind of accidentally bought 3 86s. Now, it was never really the plan to own 3 of them, but here we are. So the story goes, my first 86, this is the one that you guys already know about with the 7A. I bought this car from Melbourne, which is like a 10-hour drive from my place. When the car came up for sale, I didn't have the time to go and buy it because I'd just gotten a new job. So my brother offered to go and get it for me. He flew out, drove the car home, and when I finally got the car, ended up being a little rougher than I expected. So my game plan was to buy a rolling shell, paint the rolling shell, and get this car working mechanically perfectly. And then once the rolling shell was painted and all immaculate, I could just re-shell this car into the freshly sprayed shell and then just limit the downtime on this car. So that never actually happened because as soon as I bought my rolling shell, which is in here today, it's at my home address, the blue Turbo 86 came up. This Sprinter does have a little bit of history. There is like an old build thread on this car on the 86 Driving Club. The old owner that done the build thread, his name was like Dave 222 or something. Matt told me about that. And the owner that I bought this off of, his name was Rowan. So cool dude, I still keep in touch with him now. I sort of show him the car from time to time. But that was 9 years ago. So like I say, the plans just keep on changing. So if I'm gonna do something with this car, I've just gotta do something now, probably not re-shell it. And I was just thinking the right thing to do is to just get it running. But before I talk about the game plan, I might give you guys a walkthrough and all the parts and everything this thing's got. So let's check it out. All right, so I thought the engine bay would be a good place to start. It's just a standard 4AG ZE that's been freshly rebuilt by the previous owner. He paid someone to rebuild the engine for him. I'm probably going to go through the engine myself just to make sure everything's right, but it's just a 1.6 litre 4AG ZE, and this has got a big port head on it. The reason I know it's a big port head is because obviously the rear-wheel drive manifold is bolted onto it, and it's also got the TVIS plate right down in there. I'm assuming there's nothing in that TVIS plate. They've probably stripped the guts out of it, and I won't actually know for sure, but obviously I'm going to pull it apart, so we'll find out soon. Previous owner has thrown out the supercharger and bolted on a T25 turbo from an S13. This car was running, so I could turn this car on and rev it up, and I was doing that from time to time. And then one day I was sitting here revving it, and I blew the turbo seals out of the turbo. Now, it could just be an old turbo. Also, from what I understand, these turbos do need an oil restrictor in them. I'm not sure that this thing has an oil restrictor in it, so that could also be the problem, but nonetheless, I'm not going to be worried about this turbo. I'm probably not going to run that. I'll talk a bit more about that soon. He's added HKS cam gears, Yaris coils. Now, these Yaris coils don't have like an adapter plate because back in the day, no one actually sold an adapter plate to suit these GZE cam covers. So normally your normal 16 valve cam covers have got little bolts that you can bolt mounting plate onto. These are different. So these days you can buy them, so I probably will sort that out and have a mounting plate for these. But if you do have a GZE, not all the mounting plates suit. The fuel system has had a lot of money spent on it, so all the fittings throughout this fuel system are all speed flow, and they're all these push lock style fittings. The injectors are an ID 1000cc injector. Previous owner said that they were 750cc, but I have pulled those out and it does say 1000 on the side, so I'm assuming they're 1000s. It's got a custom fuel rail, so Back in the forum days when I used to, read up on turbo 86s, a common problem was cylinder 4 leaning out. And a lot of guys would do dual fed fuel rails, and that seemed to fix their issues. I don't know how much of a problem that is these days. So the previous owner has done the dual feed fuel rail, and the return is in the center. So that's hopefully going to give us a little bit more protection for this rear cylinder. So we've got a SARD fuel pressure regulator, Turbo Smart blow-off valve. I'm not 100% sure if I like the fact that everything is silicon joiners. I'd like to maybe have small silicon joiners and maybe some stainless steel pipes for the intake and charge pipes. But this might work, so I don't know. But the intake all goes into a nice air box here. I do have the cover that goes over this. I'm just not sure where it is right now. But this is kind of a big deal here in Australia. If you want to get your car registered, they do expect you to have your air filter boxed up. It's not all states. I'm in New South Wales, so it's kind of a big thing here. But having a boxed-in air filter is like another job that I don't have to worry about. The turbo runs to a Process West intercooler. And under here somewhere there is a oil cooler. I think it's an Earl's oil cooler. See if I can get a better shot of that. Yep, you get the oil cooler right down there. So running this whole show has got a Microtech LT10S, and it's like a digital dash and controller and all that. I'm probably going to throw all that out and go for an M-Tron. What else? So the brakes have been upgraded. This is a R32 GTR master cylinder, and they're running to RX7 FD brakes. So you obviously can't see the brakes right now, but I will do some B-roll to show you guys them things. There's also some RDA 4000 rotors. So the 4AGE is mated to a W58 gearbox. Now it's a W58 with the steel sandwich plate from a Supra. So that's the stronger of the W58 gearboxes, and that's mated to the 4AGE with a night parts bell housing. Previous owner has put the clutch slave cylinder on the driver's side, away from the hot side of the turbo and everything. So the JDM Sprinters, they have a slave cylinder on the driver's side, which I prefer, and all of the ADM ones, they've got the exact same slave cylinder, but it's mirrored onto the passenger side. And for example, my white Sprinter, the slave cylinders and the lines are right next to where the headers go. So the slave cylinder line runs over the header, which I hate. So slave cylinder's on the correct side for this one, the JDM side. The car came with a single piece chromoly tail shaft. I ended up putting that on my white car just to save some money at the time. And then obviously the Hilux Diff that we did in the previous video is going into this car next. I got the Diff back from powder coating, and one of the things about this particular Hilux Diff is that it does have the reinforcement plates that are stitch welded on from factory. There was from factory some silicon sealer in these gaps at the top and the bottom. So before I sent the Diff out to powder coat, I cleaned the old silicon out with a wire wheel, and now I've just replaced it with some silicon on both sides. Spicer has remade all the brake lines for me. I've gone out and gotten a braided line. This line goes to the body. So that braided line that you see there, I got that one made specifically at a local brake shop, because here in Australia, a lot of regulations, and if you do want to change your brake lines, you do need to have an ADR stamp on the crimp of the brake line. That's the reason I got these done here, and obviously the old one was pretty crappy. I'm not going to put that on the car. So that black sleeve there is the ADR stamp that you need to comply here in Australia. So the Diff is all complete, ready to go on. All brand new brake lines, Willwood brakes, billet axles, True Track center. So that's going to be able to withstand whatever power I put through this car. Another thing that I was quite pleased about was this blue car came with red line tail lights. And all in all, it's a pretty clean car. Like I said, it's an old respray, and the only rust that I could find right here in the back of the boot is the main rust spot on the whole car. But other than that, It's a very clean example of an ae86. It's got those fender braces inside on the fenders here that people like to run. The interior is currently stripped. As you can see, it's all been fully resprayed everywhere in the car, engine bay, interior. All inside all the cavities has been coated with cavity wax, so very minimal rust. But I do have the full interior. As you can see there, it's just like your standard blue ADM interior, and I've got it all stored upstairs in the loft. So the fuel system has also had a lot of work, all the way from the fuel tank to that fuel rail that I just shown you guys. So starting from the fuel tank, there's a custom pickup, S13 custom pickup in the fuel tank that's been fabricated with a Walbro 244 fuel pump. The reason that I had to do that was because this being an ADM Sprinter, these were originally carbureted cars, so they're not set up for fuel injection. So the fuel tank is set up now for fuel injection, and there's also an AJPS underbody surge tank, and feeding the injectors from the surge tank is a Bosch 033 pump. I think it's a 033. All the hard lines from the surge tank to the fuel rail have all been replaced with 8mm feed and return lines. From factory, these ADM Sprinters came with a 6mm feed and a 4mm return, which probably just isn't quite enough for this setup. So fuel lines have all been replaced, surge tank under there, and as far as the body is concerned, very, very minimal rust, and it's very, very straight. Yeah, so like I said, this car's been sitting for 9 years, and in the essence of just trying to get this thing done and running, I'm probably gonna have to lean pretty heavily on friends. My friend Matt Trevina and Jay Logan, they both offered to help me with the wiring harness on this thing. So we're probably gonna just gonna rip out the wiring that's currently there, because it's an absolute mess, and just start from scratch and do a nice wiring harness for this car. And as far as the turbo is concerned, being that it's got blown seals and it's a pretty old turbo, my friend Jay gave me this new Borg Warner. So same thing, free turbo. It's gonna need a bit of work to fit it. I'll give you guys a look. This is a Borg Warner turbo. The problem with this turbo is it's got a faulty actuator mechanism. So that needs to be repaired, but that's a pretty cheap repair. And I've also clocked it to suit the blue car. And because I've clocked the front housing, the actuator is going to have to probably get put down here on a bracket so that it lines up with the mechanism. But if this turbo fits, with I think it should, it does have a 3-bolt flange and a V-band rear housing. So the original T25 that I have, it's got this really crappy gasket system, which I don't like, and a 4-bolt flange onto the manifold. So currently I've got a Kelway manifold, which I'm quite happy with, but like I said, it's got a 4-bolt flange to bolt the T25 on. So the only difference that I could see with that Borg Warner was the fact that it's a twin scroll turbo. The rear housing is quite a bit wider than this one, and it's also got that V-band flange. So I'm gonna have to remove this turbo, sit that one in there, just to see if I can make it work on that manifold, and then also get a dump pipe on the rear of it. So if you look at it from this side, as you can see, the rear housing is much wider. So hopefully with the dump pipe on there, I'll have enough space between the turbo and the firewall so I can get a dump pipe in there. But if this turbo works, that's going to be a really cheap, well, it's free turbo, so perfect upgrade for this car, and it's going to be perfect for the power that I want to make. It's just whether or not it's going to fit between here and the firewall. I've got a fair bit of space there, so I've got high hopes, but I won't know until I try. I'm going to pull this one out, set the new one on there, and see if it's going to work. So this car's also had a lot of work done to the suspension. So when I bought the car, it had front and rear white line sway bars. Got a white line panhard rod adjustable. Also, when I got the car, it came with practically brand new BC black and gold coilovers. And when I was getting the diff done at CS Engineering, Chris Spicer said that I should probably get some adjustable trailing arms. So he said that I should only really get the top arms just so we could adjust the pinion angle for grip. I ended up getting uppers and lowers from Just Engineering. So other than an angle kit, like this car's suspension is going to be pretty well sorted too. So that's the blue car that I've been hiding from you guys for the last 9 years. That's what the Hilux Diff is going to be going into. And yeah, let me know what you guys think of it. So like I said, the plans keep changing ever since I've owned this car. Like over the last 9 years, I have ideas of reshelling it, respraying it, fixing it. I don't really know what I'm doing here. So I'd really appreciate your guys' help in the comment section to sort of try to steer me in the right direction. Tell me what you guys want to see. Let me know what you guys even think about the color. Like when I bought this car, I wasn't even a fan of the color. And now after owning it for a while, it's really started to grow on me. And the fact that the only rust is in the boot here, I could probably remove that boot, repair the rust. And I've also got a TRD wing that I could possibly put on it. I've also, at home, I've even got some OEM wings that I could throw onto this car. So I could even make it look cooler with a wing, fix the rust on the boot, paint it blue like the rest of the car, and that's a quick and easy fix, get the car running. So right now, my mindset is get the car running on the cheap, use the turbo that Jay gave me, get the boys to help me with the wiring harness, throw the diff in, get a tail shaft done, and get the car tuned and start hitting the track for some track days, learn how to drift, and you know, just get in there. And rather than just building cars all the time and making videos on other people's cars, I'd like to do some driving. So I'd like to get some seat time, and this seems like a perfect seat time car to me. It might be a little bit expensive for as in like something to learn in, but it was pretty cheap to me. I didn't spend too much money on it, and I've got it. So I'd really like to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments what you guys think I should do. What would you like to see? Hit that like button and that notification bell, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.